2024 was a really crazy year, and we had a lot of good music come out of this year. And today I'm going to talk about my top 10 albums. Just like the last video when I talked about my top 10 songs from 2024, these are just my opinion. These are my favorite songs. These aren't talking in objectivity on what's the best. This is just what I like. Now, before we get started on a top 10 list, here are 10 honorable mentions.
Like damn, why I get a bitch like Aaron? I'm a drop top nigga, the sun won't burn when it lit like white, but the stripes.
Honey, what you running from? Where you coming back? As much as I do,
Smoke made me float like a butterfly, skirt like a beamer. She wanna be mine.
I'm about to act a damn fool, back a damn tool, sticks on the table like a
I know that face that you make when you're scared to see all the shadows in your mind.
Seriously thinking about my future for the first time. It was I'm the best you've got, it's true or not.
Where do you find voices call and reach me out across the ridge?
So those are our honorable mentions, and now let's get started with the actual top 10, starting off with number 10.
Waiting on the corner till I saw the city leave. Was easy getting low.
Starting off strong with Billie Eilish's Hit Me Hard and Soft. Billie Eilish in 2024, I feel like, set the world on fire, right? She dropped this phenomenal album. She had a phenomenal tour, and like she's just been going absolutely insane this year, right? #1 artist on Spotify, like absolutely killing it. And now she's got nominated for shit, how many Grammys did she get nominated for? What, 6, I think, this year? Absolutely insane, right? But more about the album. This album was very much like all her albums are very personal albums, right? She herself said that this is not a conceptual album, but the album still like tells stories, and all of the stories about her and figuring out who she is, who she wants to love, right? And it's just a really fantastic album, a really big change from what her album was in 2021 when she dropped Happier Than Ever. I feel like this is very much more of a traditional pop centric album, and I don't know, I really liked it. I'm really excited to see what she drops in the coming years. Anyways, number 9.
What do you think would happen? You wait on it like a laxative. Life is just like a settlement, waiting for you to.
I love Doechii. I can say with my full fucking chest that I've been a Doechii fan since 2019, right? But with this album, I feel like there's something really special about it, right? Because a lot of her music just got written off as TikTok music, but she felt like she had something to prove with this album, especially after getting signed to TDE and all that. And whatever she was trying to prove, she fucking proved it. Because this shit, from the production to the performances to her delivery, fucking gas. Like, so fucking good. Just like number 8.
Why would I let you in? But I think
Charmed by Clairo is so fucking fire. It is a painful joy to listen to time and time again. Painful because sometimes this album makes me want to bawl my eyes out, but other times this album just I don't know, it just always ends up making me smile, right? Like Clairo's singing in this one. This has some of my favorite performances from her, especially in Juno, which was the featured song on the album. It's just a fantastic album. Again, the production is awesome. Her vocal performance is so good, as well as the writing in this thing. Bro, this album 100% deserved its Grammy nomination for Best Alternative Album. I hope it fucking wins. I'm going to riot if it doesn't. But anyways, number 7.
Niggas be begging for shit to be different until they get it, then they treat it indifferent. People projecting they bullshit.
The Chronically Online Music Nerds definitely won when it came to this album. I wouldn't say this is JPEG Mafia's best album that he has released. However, I will say that this is his most personal album, right? This isn't like an extremely emotional album, which is weird to say because with the song I chose to showcase that, you would not get that from this. But this album uses a lot of rock elements aside from its basic hip hop and EDM elements. Like, it's some crazy shit. Like, the production on this is insurmountable. Like, it compares to none, right? Especially this year. This album was fucking fantastic. I really enjoyed listening to this album. Actually, one of my first reactions on this account was reacting to this album. And again, this album's phenomenal. Great listen front to back. I always come back to this album quite a lot, actually. And yeah, just really good album, really good production, really good really good feature choices and sampling as well. Like Denzel Curry, great choice because Denzel and JPEG Mafia, again, really close friends. They've made good stuff before. Fucking Vince Staples on this album, the Future sample that he used, again, just crazy, crazy shit for this album, and I absolutely adore it. Just like I absolutely adore number 6.
Price emotional stability, a sound body and tranquility. I deserve it all.
GNX was definitely an album that I don't think any of us expected to drop out of nowhere. This album dropped when I was on my way to to move to North Carolina, right? On the 22nd. I was not expecting it. I listened to it. I downloaded this shit the day it fucking released on Spotify because I needed something to listen to on the plane. This shit is so good. Jack Antonoff working with Mustard on the production, so good. The writing, it's Kendrick Lamar, so I'm not surprised that the writing's really good. But it's definitely the most West Coast shit that Kendrick Lamar has done, I feel like, in a long time. And it is absolutely phenomenal. Wow, and with that, we are on our top 5, so let's get to number 5.
My mother's hands don't look the same.
And number 5 is Chromacopia. Chromacopia to a lot of people is basically Tyler the Creator's Mr. Morale, right? This is definitely his most personal album. Very much him talking about wearing a mask, which, as you can see, he has a mask on the album, and him basically trying to stay true to who he is, right? And everything about this album is near perfect. It is such a fantastic album, right? Tyler's singing, Tyler's rapping, Tyler's production, everything is superb. Like, and the best part, it's all him. Everything is done by him. And it's just a really, really good album to listen to. If you haven't heard the album, which is actually fucking insane because you might be living under a rock, give it a try. It is a beautiful album, just like number 4. Negative Spaces by Poppy was an absolute delight to listen to. If you don't know, I actually did a reaction to this album. This album was absolutely fantastic. It was such a great listen, right? Great metal album, by the way. You would not be able to tell that this was a metal album from the song that I chose. This is a metal album, or I guess a hardcore album if you want to be very nitpicky, but this is a fantastic album. This is all of Poppy's best vocal performances, right? Like, her run this year has been insane. Like, her best vocal performances, some of her best production. Like, The Center's Falling Out was one of my favorite songs of the year. Like, her production on that song absolutely insane. Her writing, absolutely insane. Her screams, absolutely insane. It's just a great time. You should totally check this album out. And now, we've made it to our top 3. So, the top 3 for this year were really difficult to piece together. Because either of these 3 albums could be in any of these spaces, really. And I'd be happy about it. But I feel that this was the best placement for these next 3 albums. And to start off, number 3. Alright, now, you might be wondering who the fuck Vita is and why this album is in my top 3. So, let me explain. Vita is a highly underrated alternative R&B artist who you can actually hear in some of her music. It's a lot of her inspiration from SZA, right? But she's not a SZA clone, which is the best part. She has a lot of similarities that set her aside. A lot of her style reminds me of a lot of other music that I like, a lot of hyperpop music, right? Because of her production style, but then her singing is super R&B focused and super good. And then Exotic is by far one of my favorite produced albums of this year. It is so fucking good. Her vocals on this, phenomenal. Having Smino on this album cemented that even more, right? Vita is an extremely good artist. Please check her out. Please, she is so fucking good. Anyways, here's number 2. I found this album by complete accident. It was on my recommended to listen to on YouTube, and I was like, fuck it, I'll check it out. This looks interesting, because I saw the fucking album art. I was like, nah, okay, let me check it out. I listened to the entire thing. Then a little bit later, I streamed a reaction to it because I listened to some of Violet Pony's other music. This shit is fucking gas. She has some of my favorite music from this year. Sludge is one of my favorite songs of the year. Like, this is such a personal album. This is such a hurtful album to listen to, right? Like, this album speaks a lot about abuse, a lot about having to survive it and dealing with it, but then at the end of the day, becoming the monster that you hated. And the story behind this was absolutely fantastic. If you haven't heard this album and you love experimental noise rock, listen to this album. This album is phenomenal. Anyways, now let's get to my number 1 album. This is my perfect album. 13-inch Frank Beltram Italian Stiletto with Bison Horn Grips by Shoo Shoo. This is Shoo Shoo's 14th studio album. They have been making noise rock for a very, very long time, and I think out of all the music I've listened to them, I've listened to 3 albums by them, this is my favorite. The super brutal lyrics, the maximalist production, just all of it is perfect to me. I love this style of rock music, and I feel like Shoo Shoo has mastered this style really, really well. And this album is about the fear of desire and being loved and overcoming it, right? And especially with songs like Sleep Boulevard and Common Loon, they really speak to what the album is about. And I love it. I honestly cannot wait to listen to Shoo Shoo's next album because of this. Anyways, those were my top 10 albums for the year. I hope everyone has a happy new year, and I'll see you when I do my next reaction. Y'all have a great day.